Thank you.
Hi.
You have one? Is there a way to do one? We could buy shirts.
Okay. Elise Dishman.
My name is Tony Sharp.
My name is Ruth Ann Stewart.
Miranda.
Jessica Spriggs.
I think people discriminate because they don't know.
I think other people influence them to be that way.
I think it's not cool to be racist. I have like a lot of friends from different ethnicity, white friends, Indian friends, Hispanic, Chinese, it don't matter.
I think people discriminate because it's what they're taught, it's what they see.
In middle school, I sometimes would get messed with or bullied for my race or ethnicity. People would ask me, oh, like, did you come on a boat? I'm like, no, I'm an American citizen. I was born here.
I was in 6th grade. I had a white substitute, and my teacher, I was doing a math question. My teacher, I got it wrong. My teacher said, "You're stupid," and she was like, and I confronted her about it, and she was like, "Sit down and be quiet. Why don't you go hang yourself?"
It was my first all white school, and this boy asked me, he was white, and he asked me, "Do you like to eat fried chicken?" And I felt very hurt because that's a stereotype.
Kid had found out that I'm Lebanese, and he had asked me if I had kept a bomb in my backpack. And I looked at him and I laughed because I thought he was kidding at first, but he looked at me like dead serious, and I was just taken back and shocked at the fact that he had the guts to say it to me.
A lot of it has to do with ignorance. Ignorance is the main cause of hate. Hate can be taught at an early age. So the only way to at least significantly decrease racism, sexism, any other form of ism is to teach love to young kids instead of teaching hate. Because if you teach hate, they will grow up in ignorance and they will not grow up to be the strong people that everybody deserves to be.
I don't feel it's right. I feel it's something that is just completely ignorant, and people just use it as a defense mechanism for something that they have no clue about.
I see discrimination all the time and hatred from like everybody every day. People try to joke around and play around and think it's funny when it's really not.
Well, I see it a lot in my school. Like, for example, like Muslims, for example, they interpret them as like terrorists because of what's happened in the Middle East. But we really shouldn't think about that because that's just stereotypical. I mean, each person in this world is different, so we have to accept that and accept their personality because that's what matters most.
Especially when I go to the mall and shop, and I often experience a little adversity from the other people shopping and also from the workers because I'm African American, and people follow me sometimes or pay special attention to me, asking if I need any extra attention or help, and I know it's because they are suspicious of theft because I'm black.
Growing up, I never felt it directly until I got to high school. We were on the bus, predominantly white, only 3 minority students, and I was one of them. And the entire bus just engaged in a conversation about how much they do not like inner city black people. It made me feel cornered. I felt isolated, and then I just felt miserable. It was just so annoying that I was in a position like this, but I could not say anything because the majority was against me.
I'll be labeled as a thug or whatever, even as a female, but I'm actually really smart. I'm only 16 and I'm enrolled in college, and that stereotype doesn't fit me at all.
A couple of years ago, I was sitting in class and a couple kids were just casually talking, and one of them said, "Oh, I heard this school is closing down and they're turning it into a Muslim school." And this other kid replied and said, "Oh yeah, that school is for terrorists now." And I looked up and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because I always knew that there's this stereotype that Muslims are terrorists, but I never thought that people actually believed it. And it was just shocking to me that these kids who go to my school, who are in my grade, that I sit next to every single day, they actually believe and think these things. It was just a big shock.
The reason I think people do it, it doesn't matter how eloquent you put it, I feel like it's just plain ignorance. Found a statistic online that said that 75% of whites in the US have all white friend circles. So that means if you're going on the internet or watching TV, you're seeing those versions of how certain races, minority races, are. And if that's the only exposure you get to some degree of diversity, then that's going to be the only perspective you have. But the danger of a single story is a real danger. So if you only look one place and you only hear one story, it's not a shame on those people on the TV to be acting the way that they act. If you deem that as, you know, unfavorable behavior, it's your fault for allowing yourself to apply that behavior to the entire racial group.
Fear of unknown. If they don't know, like, they're not familiar with the race, they're just afraid of it.
I think our generation now is really learning to get out of that stigma, I guess.
A lot of things in society tells us that we are not okay, but it's up to the youth. If I believe in anything, it's that youth is the future. The teens, young kids, we are the future of the world. So again, if we can teach love just as easily as we can teach hate, we can grow up and we can change the future for tomorrow.
I would not change my ethnicity. I love who I am, and I couldn't change myself. You know, I wouldn't be the same if I weren't the same person that I am. My ethnicity, you know, how I look, I couldn't change it.
No, because I love myself, and it's just nothing to change. There's flaws in every race.
No, never. Because being black has a long, rich history, and I am unapologetic for my black beauty and the history that I have.
No, I am not going to change who I am to fit into anybody's expectations, because if I change who I am, I'm just being a hypocrite, and I'm not going to set that standard for people who look up to me.
Granted, it would be easier if I could change it and become white, but I refuse to. I was watching a movie. In the English translation, she said that you can go ahead and scar me, it only adds to my beauty. And I liked that because I feel like this answers that question. I wouldn't change it because what I have to deal with will only make me stronger in the end.
Honestly, I thank God that I have my ethnicity and I appreciate it, and I wouldn't want to change it.
Because I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of where my family comes from and my religion. And I don't think that being a different religion or a different ethnicity would really impact how I think and what I do.
My name is Jessica.
I'm Miranda Aldo.
Elise Dishman.
My name is Dan Steer.
Carl Bradford.
My name is Jasmine Carter.
My name is Nia Mallory.
My name is Nathan Rado.
My name is Jillian Jennings.
My name is Emily Gates.
My name is Marissa Rassick.
Zainab Binderwala.
My name is Tony Sharp, and I take on hate.
And I take on hate.
And I take on hate.
And I take on hate.